Hey guys, what's up? I'm Greg. I hope you guys are ready to unpack and get into some good conversations today.
And I'm Jess, and this is our podcast, Baggage Claim. Thank you for joining us.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to Baggage Claim. If it's your first time here, welcome. Thanks for joining us. If you're a regular, you know what to do. Grab that drink.
Pull up to the table.
That's right. So we're here. Baggage Claim is a place where we're hoping to create some communication, some conversation.
And community.
And some community. There's a lot of C's in
there.
C
words, alliteration.
So
fancy.
Community conversations and what else did I say? Something else? Who knows?
I don't know. I don't remember what you said.
Kung Fu fighting? That's okay.
What if everybody was not Kung Fu fighting?
It wouldn't be fun. It'd be kind of sad.
A long time ago, there was a Facebook, that's how old I am, a Facebook trend. And my brother Corey, I'm fidgeting with my pen.
Yeah. What about your brother Corey?
My brother Corey. If he's listening, he participated with this trend with me. It was like, what if everybody was not Kung Fu fighting? And it was like all these songs that had been popular forever. And it was like the opposite. What if like the cool kids did not sit in the back of the bus? I don't know. That's just what made me think of that. I'm sorry.
Thank you for sharing
I'm
that.
chasing the rabbit.
That was awesome, actually. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
So take a deep breath.
What if the rain was not purple?
Relax. And just kind of pull up to the table metaphorically with us, wherever you're at, whatever you're doing, and just enjoy some fun conversation around blended families, around marriage. Man, it's a crazy time around here, and we're just trying to figure it out as we go.
Summer's in full effect in the Peck house.
It is. We're in full swing right now.
We are.
Just loving life and having a good old time.
Yeah. I've been summering out of school for a few weeks. This week I've had a training that feels nonsense for me, but I'm trying to have a good attitude, but we're going to the beach this weekend.
So for also too, just want to do a shout out for some of you. There's some of you folks that are in New York. We've had some downloads in New York and the Bronx and all those kind of places. Man, we love New York.
We do.
If you're in New York and you're listening to this, like there's a place, even not if you're in New York, if you're anywhere in the world, you're listening to this on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, right under there, it says send us a text.
Please do.
Click that link on your phone, on your mobile device, computer, wherever you're at, and just send us a message.
It's so fun for us to know where you are.
Yeah, just be like, hey, listening from so-and-so, listening from this, and just shoot that, send us a text. We get those things. We love to be involved with you guys. If there's something you want us to talk about, click that, send a text, and just
or if you want some more clarification or detail on something that we've said, whatever the case may be, communicate with us. We loved it.
You can find us on all the socials. We're on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. We're on all those fun places. Make sure to catch us, be involved, follow us as we drop new stuff and try to get this thing rolling as we keep recording and keep having fun. So tonight is about, man, this is a big topic.
It is.
And this may be a two-parter. So we may be halfway through, just be like, okay, time out. We'll catch this next time.
Yeah.
Wherever we're at in that as we roll through it. But I always say this, like even when in consulting days, I used to sit with guys and they would be like, man, I just want to make this amount of money. I just want to do this I want to be able to achieve this. And my response to them was, you can if you want, but it's going to cost you something. So life is about trades.
It is. It's about trade-offs.
Yeah, you're trading something for something always. So sometimes you're trading time for money. Sometimes you're trading time with someone for potential.
The opposite. Sometimes you're trading money for time. Like,
right.
It's all a trade-off.
Yeah, it goes both ways. So we're always trading stuff. And in relationships, sometimes it's so crazy because you're like, you're trading things back and forth, sometimes without ever saying a word.
Oh, yeah.
Sometimes it's just kind of an unspoken that just kind of happens. If we don't ever recognize it or say it, because if we do, it's kind of weird. But we do it all the time. And so tonight, or today,
whenever you're listening.
Why do I always say tonight?
Well, because we record in the evenings.
Okay.
That's why.
That's probably true. So today we're talking about this topic of selfishness versus selflessness. What maybe? Why don't you start us off with reading?
So you know how, ladies, gentlemen, men, some of you, we on our Facebook there will be how it pops up with the memories, and so. Early this morning, I was drinking my coffee before I had to go on my online training for school. I'm not. It would be negative if I talk about that. And literally 12 years ago, there's a screenshot on my phone that I literally threw in the floor a minute ago, but I wrote it down. It said, because there was this, it was like 2 or 3 little marriage pages that I would follow when you and I first got married. And this is one of the things that I had shared 12 years ago. And it said, the greatest enemy of marriage isn't from the outside. It's something that comes within each of us. Selfishness. You can overcome selfishness and protect your marriage by putting the needs, desires, and dreams of your spouse and family ahead of your own. When we selflessly serve those that we love, our families will thrive.
Wow. Okay.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
There's like probably 5 or 6 pieces of that you can dive into.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now man, if you're on TikTok, if you're on any social media platform, it's all about. Man, if you read that statement right now,
it would not be accepted well.
No, there would probably be a lot of pushback
That's
on it, which is interesting because it said.
That's why I wanted to make sure I said 12 years ago. This is when I found that. Because
why does time make a difference?
Well, time makes a difference. There's a few statements. Mainly, the one where I said, you can protect your marriage by putting the needs and desires and dreams of your spouse and family ahead of your own. That is not.
It's not a popular belief, you don't think?
No.
Why do you think that is, though? Like, what makes that such a negative?
Well, this, like I've said 3 times now, 12 years ago, fast forward to now, the world, per se, is a lot more selfish than it has ever been, I feel like. There's all these, if you're looking at social media, there's all these influencers and, all these people trying to promote like self-care and, take care of yourself. And it's about how you feel and your feelings, which granted,
are all valid. Some of them are valid.
That's what I was about to say. They are valid. But when we're talking about the subject of selfishness, that the scales tip either way according to what point of view you might have.
Right. So I think one of the things we want to talk about, maybe I want to talk about, maybe you don't, is the idea of selfishness versus self-care.
Yeah.
Like, where does selfishness come in the way of, where's the line of selfishness versus self-care? What does that line look like?
Well,
because it's probably different for, not probably, 100% is different for all of us.
It is.
Yeah.
Well, in human nature, it's just your carnal, natural desire to be selfish. You can't help it.
Well, there's one thing I learned in sales long time ago, years and years ago. If you're in sales, you know this. If there's one thing people want to do is they love to talk about themselves and they love to talk about their family. So if I'm a sales guy, what I'm going to do is ask you questions and get you to talk about yourself.
Right.
Because people love it. It's a natural thing. People just like to do that.
Now, if you were to ask me, do I like to talk about myself? I would say no. But if you say, tell me about yourself, I'm going to talk about my family. I'm going to say, we have a granddaughter, our first grandchild. Her name's Lucy. She's this, she's that. This is what she can do. She's the most brilliant 9-month-old in the world. We have this many kids. This is what they do. My husband is this and that. I feel like that's not talking about myself, but I mean, it still is.
Well, it's about you. It's about
my
your
life.
Yeah.
So, but on the flip side, if you were to ask other folks, like you were saying in the business world, if you were traveling or you sat down and, had a conversation with somebody, you said, tell me about yourself. What would those folks mainly say?
Well, it really depends on, it's interesting because I used to travel a lot.
There's a fly in here.
Well, let me say it at the same time. Jinx, you owe me a Coke.
Dr. Pepper.
So it's when I used to travel a lot, you would go into a restaurant like an Outback or a Longhorns, and there's the bar area. And you can tell all the people who are traveling, who are there by themselves.
You're not going to wait for a table to sit by yourself. You're just going to walk up where there's an open chair.
You're sitting at the bar.
Yeah.
One, so you can talk to someone, not because you're always drinking.
No.
Most of the people there, not most of them, a lot of people weren't even drinking. You're drinking water or sweet tea or Coke or whatever. But it's like, I don't have anybody else to talk to. I'll talk to this bartender.
Yeah.
Because I'm traveling. I'm here by myself. So I would always, when I would travel, I would go sit at the bar and just start conversations with people. And I love to start conversations with total strangers because it's just fascinating to me. Like that's the curiosity side of me.
Yeah.
And just intrigued to go, where you at? Where you going? Why are you here?
Who are you?
Yeah. What's going on? Like what in the world brought you? Like I remember in Toronto, I was sitting at a Outback at the bar one time and I just went and there was like 5 of the guys sitting there by themselves. And I just went up and I sat down and I was like, what's up, fellas? And they're all like, hey, it's like, I'm from Atlanta, Georgia. It just started with that. And so we had great conversation.
Of course you did, because that's your personality.
Yeah. And
know what I would do? I would go sit in a dark corner and just wait for somebody to come ask me, what do I want?
And so we had fun. And, but I was just asking, the conversation was about where you guys at? Why are you here? What are you doing?
Yeah.
Where you going? And we got fun, like while we had dinner, we just had some good conversation.
But you said they were guys, so when you said, "Hey, tell me about yourself,"
it always came down to what they did for a living. Like, if you ask a guy, "Hey, what do you?"
Tell me about yourself.
Yeah, they're going to say what they do. Like it's just normal. That's what guys do. Like they associate their self with what it is that they do for a living, which is not totally true.
It's not right or wrong, but
no, but that's kind of the surface
that's where
level.
their kind of identity.
Right. But then if you start talking, you'll find out really, really quick what if they love golf, if they love their family, they'll talk about their wives, they'll talk about some of the things that they're passionate about, like their hobbies. Those things always come out really, really quick because people just like to talk about those things. The things that we're passionate about, we talk about. It's not a bad thing, but just in marriage sometimes, we're inherently selfish when it comes to marriage.
Yeah.
Like in that relationship. So we look at that, like me sitting at the bar with a bunch of guys that I have no idea who they are, and wanting to know them is completely different from in a marriage relationship with my wife. When I come home, kids are crazy. She's been at home with the kids. Maybe she's working a job.
Yeah.
She picked some of the kids up. She's coming home. I'm coming home. We're both meeting at the house. It's crazy. There's stuff going on, or we're at the ball field, or we're grabbing food. Like it's just chaos. And sometimes it's just you want to be like, what about me?
Yeah.
Like what about what I want?
Yeah.
And so many times we ask that. But then and that's okay question to ask, but we get stuck there.
Yeah.
We get stuck and we hang out there and we can't go past that sometimes.
Do you feel like sometimes people get stuck there with what about me? If you get kind of like stuck in your feelings?
What do you mean? What do you mean stuck in your feelings?
Kind of like when you're not looking at the big picture. And I mean, that's selfish, I mean, in general. But like when you're saying all this chaos and this and that and the life and all these moving parts, but then you get to the point about the what about me?
Yeah.
Do you, maybe, I mean, I know I always come back to this, but maybe if it's a lack of communication, but do you feel like it's maybe sometimes like you feel like your feelings are not supported? Or like maybe it's not like I see you?
Okay, I think that's the key. I think that's the thing for couples is that I feel like they go through life or you go through, say, I mean, you're a teacher.
Yeah.
So you get up in the morning, you leave early, you're at school, you're doing the school thing, you come home from school, you change, you go to the gym, you come home from the gym. When you get home from the gym, I'm usually trying to figure out dinner. We do dinner together. We have
Which we have previously planned. We do plan out our dinners.
Right. So there's like 45 minutes we do dinner and then it's just like I'm exhausted. I need to go shower. Like so many times you can get stuck in that routine.
But like, what about me?
You don't get seen. Like it's just like, am I just here to cook the dinner?
Cook and help you clean?
Yeah. Is that what we're down to? Like making sure the dishwasher's emptied or full or our dinner's cooked? In
the midst of what feels, I mean, if you boil it down to minutes, it probably is 45 minutes for us in the school week. Because in the midst of that, we've got the one kid that still lives at home that's 21. We've got our producer Thomas that's a guest. Producer Michael is on another occasion this evening, but producer Thomas is here as our guest producer, our oldest son. He and his wife live around the corner with our grandbaby Lucy, who's 9 months old, and they're here most of the time, which obviously we welcome. But it's like, so we're balancing work, self-care, which we'll come back to, self-care, versus family time versus you and I time, versus like, I'm just freaking tired.
Yeah.
And then tomorrow we're going to do it all over again.
Yeah, you just get up and go right back at it. That in summary is most people's lives who are probably listening to this podcast.
Yeah, and it might not be adult kids and grandbaby and all the things, but it might be ball field or volleyball court or basketball or whatever the venue might, or Cub Scouts. I mean, there's 100 different things that you can sign up for. You maybe should not, but you can sign up for.
Right.
But at some point, there's going to be a time where you're like, okay, well, what about me?
Well, there's a million things biting for your time.
Yeah.
So how do you draw the line between not being selfish, but having self-care? Like, can you define those two? Or those two separate things? Can you define those for?
I mean, I probably could for my own self. And my type A personality, I'm referring to our notes that we have made. And so I'm looking back. So we were talking about, when we were planning this, we were talking about being selfish, and when you want to seek out your own validation for your own self, basically. Sometimes that stems from like a lack of support from your partner. Sometimes that
not being seen. Not being seen. Yeah.
Maybe there's hidden hurt that you're trying to cover for.
Right.
Maybe there's hidden resentment or a lack of validation. And that goes back to where we were talking about empathy a few weeks ago. So
when the word empathy pops up, what do you think about? Like, what's the first thing that comes to mind when you think of empathy?
Literally, do you see me?
Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah.
I mean, that literally, like, empathy means if somebody said, do you have empathy for Greg? Do I see Greg for Greg? Yes. I mean, I tried to maintain that. Am I perfect? No.
Right.
Empathy, I just feel like do I see you for you?
Like for me, empathy it's an interesting place. Like, let me put it this way.
Yeah.
I was driving down the road today and I saw a lady pulling a wagon and it was full of stuff. And I don't know what it was. But man, I saw that lady and my heart broke.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, we're literally maybe 2 or 3 decisions away from that being me or being someone
All
else.
of us are. Yes.
Right. And so it's like, when I see empathy, that's the way I see it. When I look at someone, can I see myself in that? Can I see myself in them?
I mean,
and
it's kind of like that old phrase of like, put yourself in their shoes.
Right. Because it's, and neither here nor there. I'm not saying like you should do something or not, but it's like, for me, empathy is being able to see someone and going, I see myself in that. Like when I see you and you're hurting or you're upset or you're whatever that feeling may be that you're going through, when I look at it, if I'm having empathy going, can I see myself there? Like, do I feel that? Do I see that?
Would you say that the opposite of empathy is selfish? Like the inability to see yourself in someone else's shoes?
Man.
No matter the severity, because, you know, your example from today with the lady with the wagon, we don't see that on a daily basis. So what if not you specifically you, what if one partner is unable to envision themselves in their partner's role? Just what if? And it goes both ways. What if the wife, whether she works or not, or outside the home, managing the schedule of the children's this or that or the other that you've signed them up for, and the husband is working inside or outside the home, because, I mean, we live in the virtual world. That's right. And you're living in your both worlds. What if one cannot empathize with the other?
So the husband doesn't see the work the wife does, the wife doesn't see the work the husband does.
Right. Whatever the case may be.
Happens a lot. So much.
It's
so sad, though.
Is the opposite of empathy selfish?
Maybe it is. When you say it that way, yeah. I mean, it's a very obvious. I think if you want to be in a really, really healthy relationship with your spouse, have empathy and find yourself in that position. In other words, if I have the opportunity to be home and let her go do her thing,
right?
Me be home, 100% home, let her go do her thing, and then I get just a taste of what that's like. A taste. Like, you have to keep that in mind, though, too.
Or vice versa. What if I'm not the one that's running the house and the children and the schedule and all the things? What if I'm the one that's the breadwinner and carries all that weight on my shoulders? Right. What if those roles were reversed?
Yeah. Yeah. It's not a
right or wrong.
No, it's not. It's really because here's what frustrates me, though, because we started with everything is a trade. You're trading something always.
Yeah.
Like you're always like when I used to meet with when I would do coaching and consulting and stuff, and guys would be like, "This is what I want to do. This is what I want to achieve." Okay, cool. You can do that, but it's going to cost you something. You're going to trade off time with your family, with your spouse, with your kids. I sit with guys who made stupid amounts of money, like stupid amounts of money. We're sitting there and I'm like, what do you, and it would just be like, I don't like my life. Like, I don't see my kids. I don't see my wife.
You've traded your happiness for money.
Yeah, they traded something for a career. And I
can say something I'm really proud of you for over the course of our marriage. Like, I know the opportunities that you have given up. You've traded. Okay, let me rephrase that. I know the opportunities you have traded for time with your kids.
Yeah.
and I know, or money, or whatever the case may be. I've seen you actively make those choices for a lot of years.
Well, you're not just, for me, I look at it and I'm going, I'm not just trading money for time with my family.
Mm-mm.
I'm trading we're probably not going to have the nicest, coolest car. We're not going to have the newest stuff.
No.
We're not going to have the coolest gadgets. But I can tell you this, they will have me.
Yeah.
And they'll have time with you.
I was just getting emotional too, because rewind to the first episode or whatever episode it was, like me and Thomas and Aaron Grace, we know the value of trading, literally time for time.
Yeah.
Because of losing my first husband with little bitty kids, fast forwarding to how you appreciate the impact that had on us.
Yeah.
And then, you could even rewind it to the promise that you made to yourself and to God when your divorce happened. The promise you made about making sure that I'm sorry, I'm getting upset.
It's okay.
It's just a promise that you made, 15 years ago about making sure that you were physically there for Callie and Cody when you were a single dad. Like, I'm so grateful that you understood that before you even met me, about how precious time is. Like, there is nothing that you can trade that's more precious than time.
That's true. That's very true. And so it's one of the, for me, has that always been an easy? If I sit here and said it's always been easy, that's a lie.
It is a lie. Because,
because there's some decisions I could have made that would have made our life financially a lot easier.
Were we engaged yet whenever that opportunity came up for you to go away for 3 months?
I don't know, but
sure.
I had made this commitment that I was not going to trade my time for money. And what's crazy is just I made that commitment and
before we met.
Yeah, and literally I got an opportunity to go away for 3 months.
It was 3 months because we had met at this point.
Job. Yeah, and it was hey, I need you for 3 months. You're going to walk away
out of state.
Yeah, with making about a year's salary in 3 months. And so I looked at it and I was like, okay, well, can I trade my time for I started trying to figure everything out. Well, it didn't work out. The ultimate goal is no, I can't get that time.
Can't make it balance.
And so I just told the guys, sorry, I can't do it. I'd love to, but I can't. It's sounds cool. I'd love to do it, but I just can't do it.
It was hard for him to hear that explanation.
Yeah.
Too,
the guy
I
was
remember.
just like, what? That doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't expect it to.
It's time.
Yeah. And so that's one thing that I've realized is that you can make those decisions where you decide whether you want to sacrifice the time for your family.
Right.
Like that money, because you're going to get opportunities where, and again, I'm not saying don't work extra. There's been times in my life where I've worked 2 or 3 jobs at one time.
But could you have been selfish at that point? Going back to what we're talking about this evening. Could you have been selfish at that point and was like, that's a no-brainer. I'm going to make a year's salary in 3 months. Yeah.
Yeah, and there's probably a lot of financial people out there who would listen to this and go, you're an idiot.
You're an idiot.
You should have done that. Well, and you can debate that and back and forth. But for me, I was happy with my decision. I was like, no. I made the right decision.
And we did not suffer for your
No, we were just
choice.
fine.
We were just fine.
Yeah.
And on a daily basis, though, we briefly mentioned this, but I go to the gym every afternoon when I get home from work. And I go in the summer early in the day, so it doesn't interrupt anything. But I go every day during the school year. I come home. I spend, it feels like if you're home, we get 15, 20 minutes to speak. I change clothes. I leave. Go to the gym, get home an hour later. And then, like we were saying, there's the 45 minutes and the this or that. And it's just very little amounts of time. And me choosing to go to the gym could be considered selfish.
Yeah, it could be.
It could be.
Yeah.
And just like when I went back to school after we had been married a couple of years, when you encouraged me to do that.
It was a decision. Okay, that was a decision for both of us.
We made it together.
Yeah.
But you did encourage me to do that because I would have never thought that I could do that. I had a business degree beforehand, but it's a long story short. I had landed in the parapro for kindergarten world. And when we got married, it was really convenient because I could be on the kids' schedule when you were doing, all the things. And so you were the one that brought up. So like, it's awesome that you're on the kids' schedule and you really enjoy it. How about you go to school to be a teacher and you can have your own classroom rather than being somebody's support?
Well, we had the discussion too. We had a friend of ours who gave you an opportunity to go back into the business world.
Yeah.
And say, hey,
it was a big crossroads.
Yeah, you could do this back in the business world, or you can follow the teacher role. But to follow the teacher thing, you had to go back to school.
I did.
Do those things. And I was like, we had a discussion about that. Like, I was like, what do you want to do? What does your heart say? What are you after?
Yeah.
And it was like, I love the classroom. I was like, done. Let's go back to school.
I love the classroom, number one. Number two, I loved being able to be on the kids' schedule because they were all with me.
But for you to make that sacrifice and say, I'm going back to school was huge for us because we had 4 little kids. There was a lot that's involved with that. Like a lot of, even when we're mountain biking or cross country, you would have your laptop.
I was a full-time student and a full-time parapro and a full-time mama all at the same time.
Right. And so life was
it was not easy.
No, it wasn't easy at all. And some people could look at it and say, well, that's selfish.
I was selfish because I wanted to go back to school.
But at the same time, we knew that was the best thing for you.
But bless our little kids. I'm going to get emotional again. Even our kids, even though they were little, I remember Cody. I'm sorry. It's a really big marker for me in my life and our marriage. To use a current phrase, I felt seen. I had been sitting at the table since we got home from school, working on whatever I was doing. And, you had cooked supper, you had cleaned it up, you were, helping the kids, bath time or this or that and reading and homework and the circus. And Cody must have been in middle school at the time. He came up behind me and hugged me, which was not out of the ordinary, but he kind of lingered and he said, he was like, Jesse, I can't wait for you to be done with this so you can do the regular mom stuff. And he still has no idea how big of an impact that made for me because I was like, baby, I'm working so hard to get done with this. So I can.
Yeah.
And so, on the outside looking in, it could have been selfish of me to try to go back to school and do all the things, but it was really not. And
it was a season.
It was a season.
Because here's the thing. Sometimes we get stuck in those places, even as dads, and we get stuck in the place of, I want to provide for my kids, but we miss our kids growing up because we're trying to provide. So it's like, we always had this idea, I want their life to be better than mine. But at the same time, it's like, what do I need to do to help them get by? But at the same time, be there to support them.
Yeah. And then show them what hard work looks like. And I'm doing this so that I can be here better for you.
Right.
Although it was a season of it may have felt like I was mentally not there. I was always physically there. I'd be going to mountain bike practice with lugging all my crap with my computer and using my personal hotspot on my phone or hooking up to whose ever Wi-Fi was near or on the soccer field or whatever. I was always there. It was just but that could have been looked at as selfish.
Right. So,
but
So for us to say, though, marriage is 50-50 is BS.
Oh, gosh.
Marriage is not.
No.
Sometimes you may come with 60% and I need to be 40. Sometimes like during the school time,
I would show up with 0.
and it's like
Absolutely 0.
Yeah, and I need to show up for the kids and show up for you. And so it's like, it's not about 50-50. It's about, no, I'm in this.
Well, I was just thinking about that span of time whenever you were, this is just a snippet, because you didn't do it very long, when you were installing those ramps.
Mm-hmm.
And you would travel all over the state of Georgia.
Yeah, I traveled a little bit.
Oh, yeah, daily.
Yeah.
And so it was like me making sure everybody was doing and going and homeworking and practicing and eating supper and showering, and then you would have come home.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like...
Yeah, there's been times on both sides. Like,
yes.
My time when I was at 12 Stone, there was a time where I was doing 7 days a week and just working a lot. It wasn't always, but I was working a lot.
No, but it was a lot.
And so it's like you both have to, you can be resentful and be selfish and be mad about it.
You could choose to be selfish, or...
yeah, you can choose to just do the right thing and just be like, I'm there for you.
There's a lot of times, though, for you as a husband, father, just human, that you choose not to be selfish even when you can, though. That's one thing about you.
Yeah, that's probably from my mom. Good old Faye installed that in me. I love to serve. I love to be with people. Like that's my thing. I enjoy serving. But
I'm getting teary just talking about how selfless you are as a person. Uh-huh. Because like our friend Wes,
I had an opportunity to go. Like I don't do a whole lot of trips anymore. I used to be very adventurous and do a lot of trips. I haven't a whole lot. Buddy of mine, Wes, the guy who did our table, was like, "Hey, we're going to Peru. We're climbing the highest mountain in Peru. We want you to go with us." Dude, nothing excited me more than be like, "Oh my gosh, bro, I want to be on that trip." Yeah. Financially, I know it's pressing for our family, but at the same time, it's time away from our family. I was gone at the time. Like, it's even hard for me here lately, and I don't know why this is why I'm not really good at self-care. I'm really not good at self-care. I need to figure that out.
Yeah.
But like, we had a golf trip last year that I had planned with your brother,
my brother, and his
which
crazy
is a good
friends.
friend of mine, and I don't like his friends have kind of taken me under the wing. I guess they feel sad for the elderly guy.
They love you.
There's the elderly guy. Let's take him along
that's
so we can
not
get
at
the
all.
Senior discount. But,
no, that's not at all.
But like, we had a trip planned last week. Well, last year. Well, it was Lucy's. I paid for my trip. It was
around Lucy's due date.
Yeah, and I was like, "There's no way this is going to happen." Well, of course, my luck, it happened. They go in the hospital.
It was like a day or two before you were supposed to leave, and Miranda went for a checkup, and they were like, "Oh no, we're inducing on blah blah day," and it was a day after you were supposed to be out of town.
Yeah, so I said no to my golf trip, and luckily Brent and those guys were super kind and were just like, "Bro, we get it. We'll give your spot to somebody else," and they did.
But there's some men that would choose to be away.
Well, there's no way. Like, for me, it was a non-negotiable. I was like, yeah, I'm going to be
There's no way you would miss the birth of your first grandchild.
Yeah, it's like, I'm not going to do that.
There's men that would.
Not even for her, but even for Miranda and for Thomas. Like, that, for me, that's like, my actions speak. I feel like my actions speak way louder than my words do. Like, I can say a lot of things, but until I actually do those and live those out. So for me, that was a huge thing again. And I'm on the golf trip again this year, so we'll see if it happens this year. Nobody's having a baby.
Nobody's pregnant this year.
So we're not having a baby, so we'll see if the golf trip happens. But
that goes back to when you were single. It was a promise that you had made when you and God were having a pretty intense meeting. That promise that you made to him about you and your time with your kids.
Yeah.
At that point, your kids consisted of Callie and Cody, but that promise continues now.
Yeah, it does. I still, it's always in my head. And I always think time is that one thing I can't reproduce.
You can't get it back.
Yeah, I can't. But like,
No.
today's gone. Like, whatever we've done today, it's gone, and we'll have tomorrow to do what I want with it. So it's just being very careful about how I spend that time, and if I spend it the way that I want to. I know, and I would say it, glad I suck at self-care. I probably go more on the other way than I should.
I would agree with you that you suck at self-care.
Yeah, like I need to be better at that, and I'm not there yet. I'm working on it. I'm working on trying to figure out how to do some things that help me feel
like even
more alive.
Gym memberships and things that you've started, you have a hard time continuing just because, like, I keep getting emotional, but like, you don't want to get up before I do and leave to go to the gym because you want to be here to fix my coffee. Like, for crying out loud.
Yeah, I don't like sleep a whole lot, so getting up early is kind of an easy thing for me. But at the same time, it's like, I want that time with you because I feel like now my time is even more precious than it used to be.
I know. Yeah,
so
it is.
All right, so we're going on here, and it's been.
This is going to be a 2-part.
Yeah, so we're going to.
Because here's where we're going to kind of stop for today or tonight, whatever the case may be. Because we've talked about what it looks like for selfishness, and we've kind of started diving into selflessness. I would like to kind of end on maybe a question of if selfishness, is it good or is it bad?
Well, okay, so let's do a 2-parter. Like something for you and your significant other to talk about. And grab part 2 is almost like, are you good at self-care?
Mm-hmm.
What does that look like for you? And when is it that you feel like you're selfish? And what do you feel like you're selfish about? Yeah,
because when we meet back together again here at the table, it's going to be more of a conversation of not good versus bad, but selfishness versus self-care. What does that look like?
And then we may even jump into a little self-worth because all that
gosh.
Self-worth flows into the self-care. So
it sure does.
We're talking a lot about self, but understand this. And I'll close with this.
Okay.
And this rocked my world. The scripture verse where it says, Jesus says, what is the greatest command? It says, you love your neighbor as you love yourself. And we always hear that, but I'm like, I don't know that I love myself very well. How in the world am I going to love my spouse? How am I going to love my neighbor when I don't even love me?
Yeah.
So we're going to dig into that a little bit on this next session of how do we learn to love ourselves and have some self-worth. So, man, kind of a deep topic. And so thank you guys for joining us. Thank you for listening. Thank you for sharing. Make sure to follow us on all the socials. Make sure to leave us a review. Actually, remember, if you want to, please leave a comment. Hit that send a text.
Yes.
Let us know what you're thinking, where you're at. We love you guys, and thank you so much for being a part of what we're doing here at Baggage Claim.
Yes, thank you so much.
Peace out.